This episode is sponsored by Cocktail Collective, a strategic sales and marketing agency representing a highly curated portfolio of emerging beverage brands, from premium all-natural sodas, wine spritzes, and spirits all around the world.
Welcome to the In Process podcast, where we share stories of resilience and passion. We're excited that you found our YouTube channel, and we'd love to hear from you. So be sure to comment below and hit that like button. If you're enjoying these stories, be sure to subscribe and share. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to this episode of In Process. I'm Andy.
And I'm Thomas. As always, a big shout out to Atmosphere and the Rhyme Series crew for sharing their music with us.
And today we are very excited to introduce a multiple-time James Beard Award winner, recent recipient of Michelin star, executive chef and owner of the Incredible Galit here in Chicago. Please welcome to the show, Zach Engel.
Thanks, y'all.
Welcome to the show, sir. How's your day so far?
It's been pretty good. You know, not too like a nice lazy Monday.
It's cold.
It's
It's like bone chilling cold outside today.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm
mean,
getting
'cause
more
it's-
used to it.
It's
think.
been like 40s, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But like once it hits like 30s, that's when it starts to get like
It's just that time of the year in Chicago
looking at
where
me like I'm a fucking
yeah, I mean, listen,
Candy
it's
ass.
the reason the reason is that you get these warm nights once in a while, and then all of a sudden you get hit with the blistering cold, like chilling cold in the morning. And it's like where we get these crazy swings is where it really kind of fucks with me, as opposed to we're in a week and it's like 23, 22, 21. You know what I mean? It's like it's
Just get
steady.
used to it.
Yeah.
not looking forward to it.
So you're repping the Phillies today, man. Is that
I am. I Phillied out for you guys today.
dude? I first of all,
Little Philadelphia here, little Philadelphia here.
I love it. I think the Packers are playing you guys this
I'll
week.
be honest. I
Okay.
do not pay attention to football much these days.
Yeah.
My wife is from Philly,
Okay.
and I'm there often.
Yeah. Remind me her name.
Meredith,
Meredith. Awesome.
lovely woman.
Philly, when's the last time you went back?
We're actually going next week for the holidays.
Okay.
My in-laws are in the northern suburbs.
Yeah.
We go twice a year. We go during
jeez.
Christmas, and then we typically go in the summertime. In July, August, we'll do a week down the Jersey Shore.
Oh, cool.
Her whole family, sisters, brother, mom, dad, and then we bring the kids. Sometimes my sister comes down from Brooklyn, spends a couple days with us. It's sick.
The food scene out in Philly right now is fucking nuts.
Andy was just there, so
Yeah, I was.
So you've eaten at more restaurants than I have there in the last 5 years? Because when
Really?
I'm there, it's like
family
we
time.
drive. Yeah,
Okay,
it's family
okay.
time. They're out in the burbs. I'm actually going to eat at River Twice
Okay.
next week, or like
What-
Saturday.
What kind of?
What is the place? That place is called River Twice.
River Twice. Yeah, I've been
Cool
following
name.
this guy for a little while. He's interesting. He's like been in the Philly scene for a little bit. He's doing kind of southern food, but like a set menu, and it's very interesting. It was between that or Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
That's the name of the restaurant. Friday, Saturday,
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Some cool names in Philly, right?
Chaz or Chad
went-
Williams.
Yeah, I went to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like.
So I've known about that for a while. I've just like we never go anywhere. He used to work with a couple of my boys out in California at Cezanne, I think.
Oh wow.
Oh shit.
Some guys I worked with were at Cezanne when I was in the Mission.
Okay.
When I was up in Sonoma.
Jeez.
So I've been following him for a little bit. It's pretty awesome the success that he's had in Philadelphia.
And those are probably like the old Cezanne days when
Once
Skeens
when
is
they
like-
went 1 to 2 stars.
yeah. So
Like
Skeens
back
is at
in
the
the day.
helm, and like that's a serious fucking place.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it wasn't ever a serious place, but
I think it's still a pretty serious place.
it's even when they were doing I went out to San Francisco to meet that one over there, and we went to Cezanne Smokehouse when they did the pop-up. They just reformatted the whole restaurant for COVID times, right? They were like a 3 Michelin star at the time, I think. So, pretty hard to sell food to go, but they flipped it into a barbecue restaurant.
Yeah.
They even like changed the front and said Smokehouse underneath Cezanne. and
Interesting.
Fuck, it was incredible. Some like the best barbecue I've ever had.
Did you have the stuff that John was doing at Smith, the Loyalist, the barbecue?
during the COVID days.
Yeah, he did like mid-Atlantic style
No
barbecue.
way.
I did it once.
Shit.
Pretty great.
God, I feel like I missed out on that. That's awesome.
What's mid-Atlantic?
I don't remember, man. It's 3 years ago.
It was good
I
though.
only had one kid back then.
Yeah.
Since then I've blacked out.
That's what happens.
I want to jump into this really quick for anyone that's listening to our little banter here. Zach is the executive chef of an incredible restaurant, one of my favorite restaurants in the city. I feel like I'm always fortunate to say this, but like I feel like Chicago is so incredibly fortunate to have you and your entire team here representing this incredible food city. The restaurant is called Galit, and for anyone that hasn't been there, shame on you. But what would be like
for
your
real.
elevator pitch? How do you describe Galit? I guess in a nutshell.
We are that definition has changed since 2019, I think for sure. We are a restaurant that serves Midwestern ingredients through the lens of Middle Eastern cuisine and culture.
I love it.
And that is from the wine, food, service style, all that stuff.
Right. And I think one thing that I think always comes to mind when I think about Galit is not only just the incredible food, the design, and the service that you guys provide, which is incredible, but it's your personal like passion and love for wine and all things wine, especially from the Middle East, and how you guys really represent that. And it's kind of like a focus for you guys to really get some of these, Midwestern palates to try some incredible wine from the region. And I think it's something to highlight, and definitely, one of those things that I feel like is so unique to that restaurant and in the landscape of Chicago dining scenes. It really does transport you away. It like gives you a really good insight into who you are as a person and your team. Probably now more than ever. I mean, things have I'm sure changed, and maybe some of your focus is a little bit off the beverage program now because you got.
The original vision was to have a large selection of Middle Eastern wines. Initially, it was difficult, and I also lived in Sonoma, and so that was another section of the list was Middle East and mainly Sonoma.
Yeah.
And it was very hard to convince people that this is what we were going to do in 2018, 2019. And we scrounged together what we could and really tried to make sure that we had a good representation. We had a few people who really helped us and took a chance on us to bring in some stuff that I had known about and worked with in other restaurants.
Yeah.
And now that we're 4 years old, we have really developed intimate relationships with some of these winemakers.
Yeah.
And when they're sending stuff to the States through their importer, we're one of the few restaurants that get to see that stuff first.
I love that.
And for me, it's been about the entire experience. Like the food, we can do the food. Like that's a thing that I've been doing for quite a while now. And so I wanted a challenge when we opened up Galit, and the wine program and bringing in as much Middle Eastern wine as I kind of foresaw that the winemakers there were like, there's a new wave of winemakers happening.
Cool.
In Israel, in Lebanon. There's also a lot of stuff that ends up in the States that like no one really cares about.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to just like sort of float around in the
Right.
ether. And so we find it and we grab it. And now we're at a place where people are coming to us to show us things
I love that.
that are hitting the
up.
ports. So it's pretty cool, like
Yeah.
to see your vision come full circle. And now our beverage director Scott Stromer, formerly of Pacific Standard Time and Nico, he's really taken on the vision that I had for the list, and he administers everything, and I just kind of sit on tastings and engage with the distributors and sort of like be like, yes, we are doing it. We are buying it. Bring us more.
I love that.
Can you enlighten us on the Middle Eastern wine culture? I'm very unfamiliar with.
So you're talking about there's a lot of our discussion these days about the birthplace of wine, which like the birthplace of things is a very silly thing for us to discuss all the time because it's like we have it. Who cares where it came from?
Right.
Yeah.
A little bit. But Mesopotamia, like Iraq, Iran, like that kind of area, that is now becoming seen based off of some evidence that that's like where it started. So all over the Middle East, regardless of who was the empirical rule, there was always grapes growing everywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of it was made for wine production. Currently, you have countries where there isn't a lot of wine production, but there's still grapes used for like table grapes and raisins and all that. The climate is very perfect for a lot of growing of different varietals. There's history coming from different places. So, Lebanon has a big history because of like the French being in Lebanon. And then you also have like in Israel, there is winemakers who have been operating in like the West Bank, like Bethlehem, since like 1885. There's a winery called Cremason that we have been buying from since we opened in 2019. There are Israeli winemakers who have been doing their thing for a while. The Golan Heights up in Syria, like Syria-Israeli border, like that is plush. There's Lebanon's very cool. I think that's where a lot of the most exciting stuff is happening. There are some older winemakers from a prior generation that are sort of like household names, like Chateau Moussard.
Right.
That's very well known. It, for some reason, has like a very niche following, and their bottles go for quite a bit sometimes. And we sell a lot of them at the restaurant, some of the older ones, which is always fun. And then you have some new, younger guys who maybe worked for them or went abroad, came back. They're finding native varietals growing on the mountainsides in the Bekaa Valley in different areas, and they're doing all sorts of more ancient method fermentation and just kind of like having fun with it.
Yeah.
And so there is a lot of that Western grape viticulture that like was there for the last 100 years or so. And now you have these people that are traveling the world, coming back, and the internet, and like there's all sorts of like wine conferences that they travel to, and they're engaging with all this stuff from the outside world,
Right.
and they're bringing it, and they're kind of changing what's happening there. So it's very cool to be at like the forefront of this like new awakening of
Right.
Middle Eastern wine.
Like a renaissance that's happening out there,
Yeah,
right?
it's pretty wild.
Some of like the there's a story actually. One of the bottles that we carried here at Perillo once was said to be during the and I'm terrible with this history, but there was an empire that was coming through the land, the Ottoman Empire,
Yeah.
and they were just fucking ripping all the shit out of the ground, during their way through the land. And apparently the king of the Ottoman Empire tasted this one wine and was like, don't fuck with this one. And he like said, like, leave this.
Tokai,
Oh,
Hungarian.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it's so cool. And like now it's said to be considered one of the oldest living vines in that entire region because of this one king being like, you know what, just leave that stuff alone. That stuff is great. So
It's the stuff from Georgia, right?
yeah, a lot of the wines in the
you're right.
Baltic, is become just like a really cool, exciting new region of the world that, a lot of cork dorks out there are like, we're getting really excited about in the last decade. So
If you wanted to try, like you have to go to a specialty wine shop to find.
Sometimes, like Chateau Moussard, you can find a lot of high-end bottle shops.
yeah, it's age-worthy, incredible
Binny's
wine.
has like a pretty decent selection because they also cater to like people who drink kosher wine only.
Okay.
So if you go up to like the northern suburbs and you go to a Binny's, you'll find a lot of stuff from Israel.
Yeah. I had Musar on my list all the way out on Oak Brook when I opened up. Well, old stuff, yeah. Like what's great about Musar is like you can get, it's incredibly age worthy. It rivals like Bordeaux in the sense that like you could really kind of put that thing away and leave it alone for decades and still enjoy it.
We're
So
sitting on a couple of 10+ year magnums at the restaurant.
it's on the list.
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
Sometimes we take it off, like just to make room for something else.
Yeah.
That we like know we want to sell.
Yeah.
And then we do weird stuff. Like we'll buy a case, or we'll buy 2 cases of something, and we'll like take one of them and just sit on it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna like sit on it for a while, and then we sell the other case when it's like a little young. We
Yeah.
have like a 2020 Musar that is like a one of a kind blend that he's made.
Yeah.
And so now we're just gonna chill for a little while.
I love
See what
that.
happens.
Yeah, we've got some stuff hidden down there right now. So it's always nice to have. Like, you know, it's going to be cool to, like, I've got a couple bottles where I'm like, I'd love to sell it, but it's going to be way fucking better down the road. And it's going to be so cool to pop that open, you know? I want to talk about kind of what you guys are doing here, because I think for people that may know you guys on the surface level of, you know, Galit's great food, great service, everything is, you know, they enjoy it. But the thing that I admire about you and your partner and the team over there is that you guys are incredibly smart business operators. Like, and
Sometimes.
I don't take that for granted. And I just think that there's so much you guys are doing over there that, you know, I just was fortunate enough to be at a kind of a networking event that was there last week on Wednesday, held by Zach's business partner and general manager, the front man, Andres Clavero.
Andres.
I always say Andreas. I'll let him know. It sounds better. And something I
tell his
learned
mom
about
that.
what you guys are doing over there is called open book management.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just like touch on this because I think it's really, really interesting. And it really kind of shook me to the core about what we're doing here and how we kind of continue our philosophy in business operations. But do you want to share just like a little bit, like what exactly it is? And then I want to dive into why you did it and, you know, and you know, when did you guys start this?
So it's a thing that I became aware of. The guys from Zingerman's up in Ann Arbor, they do it. They're also like I don't know. They're like kind of anarchists a little bit too. They're like kind of socio-anarchists, and their philosophy is pretty wild. But they started to do it at their restaurants, and it's an effective tool. You basically educate your staff on restaurant financials as best as you can, and for everyone that's sometimes a little difficult.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, Andres and I have business degrees, and you know, he formerly was an accountant.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to like make sure that people are like following you. So we start little by little and like add to it, explain breakdown of costs, and then get a deeper dive into P&Ls. And
Right.
we'll talk about individual general ledgers, like what is our budget for China glassware, and how does that equate to like when we break stuff,
Right.
you know? And so showing people that there is an intrinsic value in things is very helpful. Also to explain to people like what happens when we dip in sales,
Yeah.
like how that affects everything else, what your rent is supposed to be. And part of it is about, we have like 9 core values, and one of our core values is education. And so we would like people to leave Galit, should they ever choose to break the blood oath that we make with them.
Yes.
That they like go out a little bit smarter about the restaurant industry.
I love that, man.
And like get, without having to do one-on-one mentorship
Yeah.
with everyone, which is very time consuming, giving attention, that's like a thing that they get to have.
Yeah.
And it's useful. We there's not enough time in the day, and I'd like to spend more energy doing it.
Yeah.
but the restaurant's busy as hell.
Yeah.
So like things fall by the wayside. There was a period of time where Andres was like doing it
Yeah.
very regularly, and we've kind of slowed down a little bit. But it's very good to have empathy going up the chain as well.
There's so much I admire about this program, and like first and foremost, it's like we are always talking about whether on the show as operators and entrepreneurs about like, well, like I wish the guests would understand what it actually takes to run this business, and it's like if we're not even getting to our team, like if the people that are fighting, every single day next side, shoulder to shoulder here, if they're not understanding this, how the hell do we expect guests to do this, right? So, one, I feel like it's absolutely crucial. I don't think that it's done enough. So, kudos to you guys. That's fucking great. Also, another thing is,
Can I sit in at these meetings?
Sure.
I need to fucking learn this shit.
Talk to
yeah,
Andres.
it's also just like, again, you're investing in your team,
Right.
and that just unfortunately doesn't happen both enough and well in this industry at times. And I feel like, there's a lot to celebrate about what you guys are doing over there. So I love it. And I left that meeting and immediately was like, had a meeting with the partners here and was like, guys, like, I really want to like figure out how we can do this. And so we're already making steps to do that. So you guys have really inspired, me and the team here.
I'm glad to hear it.
yeah.
I think that for me, the way we operate the business is a little bit of like, I definitely had a lot of one-on-one mentorship with the chefs / owners that I work for, but I know that not everyone got that, and so it's a lot about ensuring that everyone has that access, even if it maybe doesn't feel as like intimate as it did when I was like being mentored, because people invested a lot of their time in me, and it certainly paid off for me.
Yeah.
And so to just put a little bit back into the pot for every single person that works for us.
Yeah.
I
But
love that.
it takes a lot of
a lot of
time
work.
and energy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of extra work. Like the amount of work that we do on the business, to like have established the company culture that we do. And like we're not perfect by any means,
Right.
but like we do like regular performance evaluations.
How regular?
So when you start, we do like a 30-day check-in, and then we do after 3 months, we do a performance evaluation. So you can kind of see like where you're at based off the criteria that you don't know about, like the first time you see it. And then it's another 3 months. After 6 months is when we do like the formal one based off the same template, in which like everyone's eligible for promotion at that point. But there's like criteria that you have to fill. You have to exceed the expectations of your current job description. And, it would have been nice to have. I wasn't something that I needed,
Yeah.
but I recognize now with the people that are working for us and this generation, like it's very valuable to them
Right.
to get the
Absolutely.
feedback. Like
Yeah.
they want feedback all the time, but I don't want to give them feedback every day.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like I need to do that.
Yeah.
So we sit down and we review an entire 6-month period of how they performed. How many stations have they trained? Have they trained another person? What's their level of accountability? Do they understand what their role is, and how many stations have they learned, and how do they communicate and treat other people? And like all sorts of different criteria, and it gives us a really good way to have people like stop and reflect every 6 months, and also to have something to work for, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're shown, this is where we see you're doing well, this is where we think that you can improve upon in order to get to the next level in the restaurant, and this is how you do it, then it's so much clearer.
Yeah.
And there's no like
I mean, we call it flying blind, right?
Yeah.
There's
we used
no
to have to
goal in
like
mind.
guess what the chef wanted.
Right.
And like you would if you weren't his favorite, you might not get promoted. Right? And so
Right.
everything is very equitable.
Yeah.
It's all based off of how you perform on the criteria. And, you know, we hire people and they enter based off of resume. Right?
Right.
So there's no way that I can be like, well, Thomas, I don't like you, but I
Right.
like Andrew. And so I'm going to give him $1 more.
Mm-hmm.
And I hired you at the same time, even though maybe you have 5 years of fine dining experience.
Right.
And all these things were thought about even before we started Galit. When I
Wow.
worked for Alon, and we opened up Pomegranate Hospitality, Saba and Safta in New Orleans and Denver, respectively. This is like a part of it. And I
Cool.
built that culture with him, and then implementing it here in Chicago and investing in it for the last 5 years means that we are seeing the benefits.
Right.
Like
Right.
the culture in the kitchen and how we operate we've seen drastic improvements, and it's not by hiring like jerks
Right.
that are only there to make sure that they're cooking the most soigné shit.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like they're there to like invest in themselves because we invest in them, and they know that they have a pathway to success.
I love that, man. There's just something so cool about all of this that you guys are doing here, and it's just like for most people that maybe aren't operating a restaurant. Like, again, you emphasized this earlier, but there's just so much shit that happens in our day to day that go unnoticed, and when I'm hearing you talk about this, like I'm like, man, this is a lot of work. Like, reviews are a lot of work. Like upkeeping on these practices, but what I love about it is that it's small business but big business thinking.
Yeah.
And I think that most often a lot of small business owners get caught up in this idea of like, well, it's a small business, so we'll take it step by step. But it's like how you get there is by thinking like big business, right? Like doing the things that these larger corporations are doing and learning from those and taking those habits and putting them in place, even in a team of 35 people or 40, whatever the size of the restaurant is.
45.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to overcorrect you.
Oh, right.
You look like you were fishing for them.
I was, but that is really important, and I think that's something that I admire about you guys greatly from the outside here, and
There's been a cultural shift since like we entered in restaurants, where there is a request, if not sometimes a demand, for a higher level of professionalism in the restaurant setting, in the industry, and I wholeheartedly agree. I certainly saw some stuff that was like very unprofessional during my time. That like, I'm also no like innocent. Like I wasn't always like the most professional person in a kitchen.
Right.
But leading as best as we can to show the generation that comes after us, like there's a way that you can do it. It's tough.
Yeah.
You can get it done. And Andres and I have this experience having gone to business school and being put through these like classes at Tulane about like how to properly handle like staff and human resources, like all that kind of stuff. Like we took the 301 level courses. It's required. So we have an idea, and just to ignore it would be very negligent on our part for our
Right.
business. Right. And we've benefited from it. We have employees who've been with us since we opened. 4.5, it'll be 5 years in April.
Oh shit.
And
Congratulations.
like that's of all the things, that's an incredible feat for us.
Yeah,
Right.
that's awesome.
Even from like the employee standpoint, it's I wish I was in a kitchen like that, right?
Yeah.
Coming up, like
I do. I think sometimes I think that if I had not been in the kitchens I was, I may not be where I am today.
For sure.
Like there was no 40-hour work week.
Right.
There was
Yeah.
there was no like
Right.
benefit. Like I had to hustle to get my
some free
piece.
labor as well.
I mean, I willfully did it. You know?
Yeah,
Like
right.
I went in early every day
Right.
to get the reps in. So I think that there's a benefit to it, but also knowing that I had to go through that and that it wasn't necessarily the most above board shit, that like I can change it and hopefully also still get people to push themselves to be better at their jobs
Right.
simultaneously.
Yeah. Speaking on Galit hitting 5 years, this is, first of all, congratulations. Soon.
Thank you.
That's awesome. A lot has changed. A lot. You guys have come a long way. What is going on at Galit now that you're most excited about, as opposed to, I guess, like through the rough years? Let's kind of omit that, right? Like the whole
Sure.
delivery. How has it evolved, and what are you really excited about?
Well, we already touched on the wine program, which
Yeah.
to me is the most exciting part of the restaurant.
Oh yeah.
There's not really other restaurants. There's maybe a couple
Yeah.
that are doing the wine program that we have right now. Not only are we getting all this stuff in, but we also have figured out a way to sell some of this stuff by the glass, and not in a pairings way, like it kind of. So the menu is 4 courses of food. So we have like a journey through the Middle East wine menu,
Oh, cool.
where different wines are matched with each course based off of generally how they'd go well with that kind of food.
I see.
We usually start out with a sparkling, and then we'll go to something that's a white or an orange or a rosé with a little bit more heft to it. For the meze course, for the entrees, typically something red, just because that's kind of where the value is in what we're doing. And then there's a dessert wine or something similar that we can use. And you're able, through this menu, the idea was we were doing wine pairings for people on the fly
Yeah.
all the time.
Right.
And with our style of dining, where there's at least there's 10 things or 4 things on a table at once for all the guests,
Right.
that's hard to pair.
Right.
It's not a singular dish.
Right.
And so we're why would we go into every day unorganized? Let's figure out a way to do this and make it really special. So you're able to try bottles of wine like the Margalit Cab Franc, which is the wine that my daughter is named after, and subsequently the restaurant is named after her, which we sell by the bottle for $180.
Yeah.
And you're able to get a glass. It's part of this menu, generally around $75 for the menu per person. No one else in the country sells Margalit by the glass.
That's awesome.
So that's, to me, is the very exciting thing. We're getting stuff in, Scott's been incredibly driven to follow through and build a program. We have a wine right now that's made in Armenia from grapes that were smuggled out of Iran.
Oh shit.
And in the United States, there's 11 cases of this wine.
Wow.
And we have pretty much all of it.
Very cool.
And so we're selling that right now. So you can come into Galit and you can have this food experience, but on top of that, you can have a wine experience that from night to night is gonna just vary and be something that's so unique
Yeah.
to that evening that's really special to me. As far as the food goes, we're cooking as seasonally as we can. It's difficult with the winter time. So I've kind of worked on, over the years, establishing some core recipes, using things and being able to build a larder a little bit for the winter months.
Oh, cool.
And the creative process for me is now that I've kind of handed off the reins of the wine program, I'm really able to play with how far I can go with some things more than I could in 2019.
Cool.
Really able to push a little bit past what classic Middle Eastern dishes are. And if people don't like it, I don't know what to tell you, man. We're having fun.
Yeah.
The cooks are
Hell yeah.
loving it. I'm gonna put a new dish on the menu, and the cooks are all "Oh, good, that one, the one that you're switching out, that was a rough one to prep." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna make it harder." Why would you be here if you want it to be easier every time?
Right.
You're here to get pushed.
Yeah.
So you can like learn something new.
Yeah.
What do you want me to like? What are we gonna do? Just like
Yeah, flapjacks.
yeah, like come
Yeah.
on. So that's fun to have a team that's willing at this point to kind of like eat it a little
Yeah.
bit and get pushed to try more difficult techniques and tasks. And then I'm figuring out stuff on my own too. Like I'm learning that I can do things at the restaurant that in 2019 I would have never messed with,
Yeah.
you know?
I love that. I wonder for you guys both as chefs, it's like, do you guys ever feel like, I don't know, like constrained, like pigeonholed? You're like, I'm just tired of doing, like, not tired, but you guys want to do some new stuff, right? I mean, but like you have to kind of stick to like your respective category of food and cuisine, you know, like, or, you know, I don't know. That would be frustrating because I get to work with the entire world of beverage, right? Like,
I think personally for me, it was like when I worked in someone else's kitchen, it was more constraining. But I think because it's
yeah,
our thing, it's we can, and it's like we also opened understanding this,
right.
and so we called it Korean American on purpose to kind of give us that leeway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's just more. It's exciting. I think it's more challenging to come up with new shit rather than feeling constrained by.
My sous chef, one of our sous chefs, Marco, has been with me since the beginning. He and I joke all the time when we get reviews that people are like, "It's not even really Middle Eastern food," and he's like, he's always like, "It doesn't say on the front door Galit, authentic Middle Eastern restaurant.
Right.
It's just like we live in America, so
Yeah.
we get to do, we get to like freely express ourselves,
Yeah,
Exactly.
and the free market dictates
crazy.
if people appreciate what our creative output is.
Yeah.
But I've also come to terms with the fact that like I make the fucking rules
Yeah.
at the restaurant.
Right.
Like I get to decide
Right.
what goes on the menu, and I try and get the sous chefs to like kind of understand the direction that I'm going.
Yeah.
But like I am the driving force for where the menu goes
Right.
and how we develop. And like if I set constraints on myself, that's because I want to be able to not feel like I would feel irresponsible if I started to really get crazy
Right.
Yeah.
and unfairly misrepresent Middle Eastern
100%.
cooking and ingredients.
Right.
And so I know that like when I've gone too far, I'll know,
Yeah.
I'll reel it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like,
Who cares?
Right.
who cares, man? The restaurant's busy. Like,
Yeah.
if I keep doing what I'm doing and it's working well, I get a lot of fulfillment out of creating whatever I want to create,
Yeah.
and then managing it to be executed consistently for 150 people a night.
Right.
Right.
That's awesome.
And that in itself is fucking difficult.
Yeah,
That's
difficult.
Right. And the people just don't. Get
Yeah.
into this, man.
Anyways,
We're grateful for all
yeah.
our guests.
Yeah.
And I love the wine list and the program that you guys do over there. I've had Margalit Cabernet Franc every time I've been there. There is a wine that you guys really fucked me up once, and Anjo knows this wine because she had it too, and I've been chasing that high ever since. Like this is like now like maybe 3 or 4 years ago since I had this. It was like when you guys were first open, and me and Anjo went over there. You have this bottle from Asaf, which from my understanding
was it the
is
Chenin Blanc?
it's the Chenin Blanc.
So people hate that one.
What the hell is
Because
wrong with people?
don't know what Chenin Blanc is.
Okay.
They coming in with this like idea of what they're always like, they always think it's supposed to be Chardonnay, and it's like, it's not what Chenin Blanc is.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very good expression of Chenin Blanc that Asaf does. I think everything they do is really great.
I think it's one of the
we
best
had to
I've
take
had.
it off. It was the most DNL'd wine we've ever had.
Wow.
But
Do you have any left that you need to get rid of?
I think Scott might be getting some more in. We always joke about bringing it back because now I think that we could get away with it because
Yeah.
people trust us more and they're interested in trying whatever we tell them is good.
Yeah.
And I think our I think people are coming in more educated about wine not being so strict
Yeah.
in its parameters.
Right.
That like this is a living thing that has flexibility depending on where it's coming from, and it's subjective. Like,
Right.
people like it or don't like it, and that's okay.
Yeah. That's crazy because I can tell you that wine is like one of the ones that just like stuck in my head, and it's been there for so long. And then I remember asking Andres at the time, I was like, how can I get my hands on this?
You can't.
That's exactly what he told me. And I took that as a challenge. And I immediately came back the next day. I was like calling people. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I got a curveball for you. I'm like, where can I find this? Like, no one had the answer. So
For you,
I gave
for
up.
Perella,
For
you
me
wanted
to
it?
just buy
Or for
a
you to
case
buy?
of at my
I'll-
house and
I'll
enjoy.
hook you up, dude.
Dude, that would be incredible.
I'll
So
hook you
I'm gonna
up.
hold it. I'm gonna hold you to that.
You're being recorded, so
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I have to hook everybody up.
Right.
It's my boy.
No one's gonna appreciate it except us. So, I want to kind of jump back onto what we were talking about earlier, and it seems like you've through your journey have had how these incredibly like learned experiences. I know this is like a really tough question. It's not. There's a lot that we do as operators, but maybe there's like a couple things or one thing that maybe stood out for you that through your learned experiences has really something that's like a habit or a practice that you've put in place in your business that you feel like is really going to set somebody up for success. Should they be looking at, hey, I want to do my own restaurant one day, like. What's like one piece of advice you would share with them, I guess, that you're like, this is like something
Just
that's
one-
really
just one piece of advice.
one.
That's it.
Yeah, just one thing.
Can I have my own episode?
You
to just
can.
give advice.
Yeah, it's, what do
let's
you think?
go. We have
What do you
plenty of
think is
time.
really impactful?
I don't know. There's a lot of things that I've taken lessons from, and some of them are things that people have done or shown me, and some of them are things that I've seen them do that I was like, that's wrong.
I love that. Yeah.
And that's been a big philosophy of mine, is kind of figuring out where my values are versus the people that I've worked for. I would say the thing that has impacted me the most as a chef, not as a restaurant owner, is moving around to places and cooking in different places.
Okay.
Chicago's a great food city.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But like the food that's being cooked here is very different than in the South,
Right.
than in California,
Right.
than in the East Coast, than in France, Israel, Italy, Slovenia,
Yeah.
Shanghai. Like you as a young cook, the best thing you can do is invest in your life experiences and going and cooking in other places. And I don't necessarily just mean a stage. Like I mean like live there.
Yeah.
Like my time in California, I followed a friend of mine who was going to go work at a restaurant in Napa, and I ended up in Sonoma, and I was always very interested in wine, and that has had an enormous impact
Yeah.
on my abilities as a chef from where I worked, but also my understanding of wine as a complement to food,
Right.
and understanding that process and all that, like being able to go to every winery in Sonoma and taste different styles, different regions. So that's my advice. As a restaurant owner, like read some stuff on like business management.
Yeah.
Like figure out what the course load is for a business degree for undergrad, and like try and delve a little bit into it, because one of the things that this industry does very poorly, that we try our best to kind of adjust at Galit, is we put people in managerial roles that are not prepared to do them
Yeah.
and do not understand how to manage people. And if you have a difficult team, like there's a lot of conflict or whatever, like there's
Yeah.
performance issues, and then you put someone in a managerial role and think that because they're there, you have to do less work because you have to do more work because you need to get them capable to manage people and the business.
Right.
And I think that has led to sort of like, I don't want to say like a disease, but like we're generally pretty bad at running businesses, and the people that are successful, like it's on the surface.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're ducks and the legs are kicking because you don't really understand, and then you're hiding it from your staff.
Yeah.
Like, and so that's sort of the whole thing with open book management,
I love that.
right? Is like getting to see what's underneath and not hiding it. Because how many people did you guys work for that like didn't disclose things to you that would have made it more obvious and helped you do your job better?
Right.
And so that's my thing is like, if you want to own a restaurant, learn to do that.
Yeah.
Like learn about management, human resources, accounting, like
So everything.
I mean, you don't have to like be like a.
Have an basic understanding that these
Yeah.
are requirements.
It's very, very helpful.
Yeah.
I think like conflict resolution, like YouTube it.
yeah.
You
No,
know?
seriously.
That's
I mean,
90% of what I do.
I was
some
going to
days.
say, half of our time is just literally we're in the people business, right? I always tell my managers, we're not in the food business, we're in the people business, right? Like our job here is to deliver the food to the table that they've ordered, but like the goal is to make them feel appreciated and special, right? Like, and at the end of the day, it's like we're here trying to create an experience rather than fill someone's tummy, right? Like there's so many places someone can go and just get food. But there are very few places where you can get an incredible experience that's lasting for a long time. And I think that that's really hard to achieve. And that requires running a fine comb through everything you're doing constantly. And then once you're running that fine comb through it, you look back and you're like, let's do it one more time. What did we miss? And I feel like all of that advice is just incredibly helpful. And I think that there's a lot of people that would benefit from hearing that. So thank you for sharing that. There was something that Andy wanted to touch on, right? The surcharges?
Oh, I mean, yeah, just over the last couple of years, we've seen, inflation really affect our businesses. And I just wanted to know what you guys have done at Galit to kind of tackle those new challenges.
We just raised the price. We're on a set menu, so we've just raised the prices periodically.
Yeah.
I think it'd be harder as an a la carte restaurant.
And that
Significantly
solves.
harder. It solves a
Interesting.
lot of problems. I mean, bumps in the road. So
Yes.
like, the surcharge, we have a 5% employee healthcare surcharge, which we implemented in June of 2019. Right after we opened, we were able to get health insurance for our staff and then realized that this is the way to do it. I mean, we didn't like invent that.
Right.
Like,
But which is incredible because, believe it or not, many, many, many restaurants do not provide any sort of health
Correct.
coverage for their
it's
staff.
I look at it as an employee retention tool.
All right.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of these guys, like these employees, like they're young, they're healthy. Maybe they like smoke too many cigs, but like generally like they're in good shape. They don't need health insurance, right? But should anything come up,
All right.
having it is very nice. And we do have some people that need it. So we do the 5%. I mean, we cover all back of house employees 100%. And like tipped, I think, is like 75
All right.
at this point. During COVID, we like just gave everyone health insurance
Man.
in
Yeah.
full. Like we just switched. It was like 75-60 before, and then we were like, whatever, like it's fine.
Right.
Health insurance has gone up
yeah,
tremendously.
man, it's so
It's
expensive.
It's
gone
so
up
expensive.
33% since we started. We have a very good plan. Like it's nice. Like for a small business under 50 employees, like it's kind of the best one that you can get. And there's an upgrade available if people want to pay a little more out of pocket. We have dental, we have vision, and some people don't like it.
No, exactly. I wanted to like touch on that because it's just something like, so I was having this conversation earlier, but like we offer our health insurance to employees. It's like 30 days in, right? I know
we do
I
the
know
same thing.
large restaurant groups. I'm talking, I won't name who they are, massive restaurant groups that make their employees wait like 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, and I get for some people out there that are listening, they're just like, well, what's the big deal? And that's like, well, here it is. For me, in my opinion, health insurance is a basic human necessity. Like something could happen to you and it's going to cost you
Thousands.
you know, an absorbent amount of money. I think that for most consumers out there that go to a restaurant, they don't think about that. They're not thinking about the cost of running the business and how expensive it is for a small business like ours to be providing health insurance, and especially the coverage that you guys are doing. Like, you know, it comes at a great cost, and I feel like this weird thing where it's like, you know, we do an optional charge on our check, but that's to supplement back of house wages, right? To try our little effort in kind of like creating a better, you know, I guess making it a little bit more even, trying to, right? It's still far from it, but you know, we've had people that are come in and they're like, well, that's not my problem, right? And I get that. And it's like, I totally get it. It's like, you don't have to like make a big deal about it. It's optional. We said that. If you want it off, man, just let us know. And I feel like the same thing. I feel the same kind of nervousness about telling people, hey, things are where they are in our restaurant because you're not just paying for the food, but like we're trying to do something great for our team here. And part of that is like offering our teammates health insurance, you know, and that comes at a cost. And unfortunately, to give you this incredible experience, you're investing in that too. You're being a part, you're taking part in that. You're coming here to, in exchange for an experience with teammates around you that are providing that feel good, right? That are cared for in their life. And there's a little bit of reluctancy for me to be like putting that on a sign for someone, you know, because to them, it's, again, there's just so many people out there that's just like, who gives a, like, I don't give a shit about that. Like, I never asked for that, right? And it's like, but we deal with it on a different level. Instead of health insurance, we're like talking about wage discrepancies between front and back. So, have you dealt with a bunch of people that like challenge that to you guys?
Me personally, no. Does Andres deal with it on a very regular basis?
No, everything's fine.
Andres does, and part of the like open book management and a lot of how we approach is like we don't just try and explain the financials to the staff.
Yeah,
we're also like pretty open with like having that conversation. Andres is pretty open with having that conversation. One of the things that we talk about is that the idea that like the customer is always right or whatever.
Yeah.
And that good hospitality is explained to someone where the limitation is too.
Yes.
You know?
I agree.
And so the drawing a line and being like, this is where we stand as a business. These are our principles. Mm-hmm. And like, if you don't like it, that's fine. We'll remove it. But like, if you don't want to support this kind of business, then like, that's fine.
Right.
There's a wait list.
Yeah.
Like on Friday and Saturday night, like I'm not worried about like filling in the seats that you won't occupy for the second time.
Right.
You know, and I don't spend a lot of energy on it. Like in my head, Andres is like good at having the conversation. We've tried to get the staff more comfortable, but that's a sticky situation because then people are like, well, I'll just take it out of your tip.
Jesus.
Which is like it's crazy. We've made these adjustments with the price to account for having our staff around for longer. It means that their wages have gone up.
Right.
We do a cost of living adjustment every year for the back of the house employees.
Love that.
And so that's an account. Every time the price goes up, that kind of like inadvertently affects the server's GRAT.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because if it's 84 and then we go to 88,
right,
that's a percentage increase that they're going to get in the GRAT. And you know, it gets harder and harder, and then we have these like conversations where we're like, oh, we're going to turn this whole thing on its head and do something really crazy, and then we have to think about what are the repercussions of that. And in Chicago now, it's like getting a little hard to not jump into like a service charge model
Yeah.
for doing what we're doing.
Right.
It is very appealing, especially because then we can hide the 5% within that
Yeah.
by simply going up more in price than we normally would.
Right.
And that, like, Andres runs the fucking numbers, dude.
Yeah.
Like, if you think you could make a spreadsheet out of it, he's already done it. And it's got a pivot table.
Oh,
and it's
man.
got if equals or equals.
Yeah.
Like I can handle it,
Yeah.
but like sometimes I'm like, dude, like why? Are you, how? Why?
Yeah.
But it's
love
very
that.
useful for us to model the business.
Yeah.
It's how we modeled the financials for Galit and for the second restaurant. Like all of it is like every factor is involved,
Yeah.
and then we have to think about like the human side of it too. It's like what's going to be the repercussions on the guest side, on the employee side. Like what are we going to deal with here? So yeah, I don't know. Like we're in this weird thing where like the politics are starting to delve into restaurant operations.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you can talk about restaurant associations all you want, but like it's difficult for restaurants to lobby
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, especially smaller ones. We don't all fit the mold that each other fits.
Yeah.
What we do here at Galit is very different than Perilla and very different than like an Al's Beef
Right.
franchise owner, right?
Right.
And so the rules shouldn't apply to everyone exactly the same.
Yeah.
And then we have to navigate that system. And then, you know, you're doing the together hospitality thing. Like it's about communicating.
Yeah, exactly.
With your colleagues. Like, I can randomly call Eric Williams
Yeah.
and he'll pick up the phone and we will talk about this stuff, or he'll call me, or, you know, like Lee Wolin or Mannion or whatever. Like every once in a while we'll check in
Yeah.
on each other and see like, what are you thinking about this? Like, how do you do this? Like it's part of your business. How do you do it?
Yeah.
And even though, you know, we don't operate the same business as Daisy's, I'm always intrigued to ask Joe about what's the background on that.
Right.
What does that look like on your end? Not like what we see on the surface, like what's
Right.
inside, and getting to figure out like if that is the best thing for us to follow, or maybe we go a different route.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough navigating this climate right now. And I feel like the more and more people are getting together and talking about this, I think that it's instead of us just kind of waiting for and for this looming all these policy changes that it's going to, you know, it's taking actionable steps now and preparing yourself, you know, and kind of forecasting that. So lot of stuff to think about in the future. And I think most importantly, maybe avenues like this where you're getting direct kind of information straight from like our side to the consumer, like even if it's through this like little tiny podcast that like people get to understand, wow, they're facing some serious challenges. It's just even just communicating that, right? It's just sharing the information as to why certain like a pizza is going to go up in price, right? Like, and how we, you know, figure that out is going to be just taking things step by step through this process, you know. But like at the end of the day, it's like things are going to happen, things are going to change, like wages are going up, and you know, and challenges are going to be in the future. So waiting for us.
Restaurants are just it's just an incredible difficult business to do successfully, and then on top of that, to do it with all of the things that you guys have implemented makes it just to get to this point where like, all right, we're running a sustainable business, you know, finally people are happy to work here, et cetera, et cetera. That's, people don't realize how much more extra work that is just to get to that level, you know? So yeah, I highly commend you and Andres
Thank you.
for everything you guys have done over
I like to
there,
have a short memory with this sort of stuff. I like to get fired up
Yeah.
when I see something that I'm like, oh, it's gonna really suck for us.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, my mindset, like as a chef or like whatever it is in my brain, maybe it's like just how I'm wired. I'm like, let's now figure out the solution and then move past it. Because there's thousands of problems that get presented to you, and there's a weighting to all of them.
Yeah.
There's an importance and significance.
Yeah.
And like the like glass breaking, like on one day might be important, but now I'm like, oh, there's a much bigger problem
Right.
that's bigger than that. And so I kind of tend to just like give a shit a little bit less about the small things.
Yeah.
Knowing
for
that
sure.
like someone else is going to maybe hopefully take care of that.
Yeah.
And if I have to check in on it, great. But that, I just want to keep, it's a hard business.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But sometimes I think that we like cry help a lot.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's so hard. And it's like, fuck yeah, it's hard, dude. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
Like, this shit is fun.
Yeah.
Like, every day I go to work and I'm
Fucking
like,
crazy too.
this is crazy. I got 100 emails. I have invoices to pay. I'm doing a new dish. I got some weird ass podcasts I got to go to. and then like shit hits the fan.
Right.
And like some employees out because they like got like their ankle like sprained while they were at like some weird EDM concert on
Right.
Sunday night. And I'm like, cool, let's fucking go.
Right.
Like, let's do it. Like, let's just get tougher, get stronger.
Right, roll with the
push,
punches.
push.
Yeah. And it's all worth it at the end, right? Like in some
For
weird
some people, yeah.
some weird way. I walk into the dining room late at night and see this place packed and jamming and people having a good time, and it all of that goes away, for that moment. You're just like looking around the room and you're like, man, people are having a good time in here, and that's fucking awesome, so I want to jump into some questions that we have from some listeners. So I'm going to start off. We've got Cornelius Singer 3.
Yeah.
Sounds like you know this
Chef
person.
C.
All right. It says, Chef, tough question, but who are your top 5 line cooks of all time?
So like,
Hold
let
on.
me-
They said you have to answer this. Everyone you worked with will be waiting for this answer.
so let me give you a little background on Chef C.
Yeah.
So Chef C, we hired as a line cook at Shia when we opened in 2015. And he eventually became a sous chef. He's a chef at a restaurant down in New Orleans now. And he came from like a very difficult background in New Orleans and has like worked his ass off to get to where he is. When I saw this, I was like, this fucking guy, like he literally like he is, if he's listening to this when it goes on, he's gonna be cracking up
Yeah.
at like the position that he has put me in and thinking that he is so funny, and like he doesn't actually want to hear that he's on the list, but he's on the list.
I love that.
Like because he has the integrity, the drive.
Oh, yeah.
He has shown time and time again that he's successful. He like followed directions, like
love that, man.
brought him up. Like, he's a great dude. He's also like a good human outside of work. So Chef C, if you're listening, you're the fucking man.
I love that.
Wish you all the best, and fuck you. I don't know, man. Like I've had a lot of people that, as the chef at Shia, there's countless, hundreds of people that work there.
Yeah.
I opened a restaurant. I opened Saba in New Orleans and Softa for Denver. That was like 100 employees
Jeez.
alone on an opening between the two restaurants.
Yeah.
And then Galit has had a lot of good cooks coming through.
Yeah.
What a dumb fucking question. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Like everyone has their merits. Everyone contributes. Everyone also has their faults.
Yeah.
And favorite,
I love that because I totally relate. I feel like, just through all of our journeys here, right? Everyone that's sitting here, like, we've all had this like incredible journey through our careers to get to where we are. And it's not just through the merit of our own work, right? That we're sitting here today. It's through the people that were around us. And like, so even just like if we were looking at the years of just Perilla, it's like, there were so many people that had a significant part within that time, right? Of what we needed, right? Whether it was packing up bags of food to go and through a delivery window, or like in full service now, or because we were serving people in a fucking heated patio with like insulation out there, like in the middle of winter. Like everyone that has been a part of our life in some way has played some significant role to you know, and an amazing part of that story. So I love that.
I like to think also that I don't really have favorites.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yes. Chef of Valor, 25. Do you know this person?
Yeah, he also worked for me. At
Oh, what was your first welcome to the industry moment? And I assume he means something tough and challenging that you faced.
I feel like we talked about this the last time when I was here. This is a good one.
The unaired episode.
The unaired
The
episode.
lost tapes.
Which I would like to say we didn't talk about this other thing yet.
Oh.
But like, I had a really great line in the last episode that will never be heard.
Oh man.
And
can you share that with us?
so I went to Perilla the night before.
That's right.
We did the episode.
Yes. I actually love this part.
And I was like, yeah, if you ever want me to come to your restaurant, just put me on your podcast.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm not going to show
The
up.
Jewish guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I was
I felt
listening.
so bad.
I was
about
listening to that. I was cracking up.
having not been here yet.
Yeah, so we invited Zach to the to our previous show years ago. It feels like was it a year
It
ago.
was a year ago.
It was a year ago.
It was cold a year ago.
It feels
so
like.
yeah.
And I remember like the night before, of course, Zach and his wife Meredith and
The kids.
the
Yeah,
kids,
kids,
they were all in here.
Sister-in-law, boyfriend.
And was it Margalit?
Margalit.
She was just chefing it up,
Grilling.
Yeah.
just big time. She
kids
was like
love grilling, man.
picking up all the meats for the table. It was
Yeah.
awesome. Awesome to see. So like one of my favorite things about seeing this like Korean barbecue, like I see the parents just sit back. They're like, yeah, I'll take it.
Her ADHD
medium well.
impulsivity did not allow her to sit and not
Yeah.
like try and.
Kids love to cook on here. This is great.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm also like, dude, it's dangerous. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then like she would if I didn't.
Ooh. Yeah.
Um,
Maybe we get kids like a little mini chef mitt, and they can just like.
It's not a bad idea.
Okay.
so Kyle's question,
Kai. Oh yeah. That's
Chef
right.
of Valor, right?
Welcome to the industry moment.
So I worked at Dominica in New Orleans for Lon Shia during my senior year at Tulane. I graduated, and I went to Zahav to work for Mike Salmanoff.
Amazing.
And the first night that I was at Zahav, they were like, the grill cook called out, like, we're going to show you how to prep it. Like, you'll prep with a sous chef, and then you're going to work the grill.
Wow.
Which was like a pretty fucking cool thing to like the first night in the restaurant, you're doing the station that has all the charcoal grilling, like
Yeah.
cooking kebabs and fish and chicken and steak over charcoal. And I a couple of times like didn't grab the towel and everything's on skewers.
Yeah.
So I had
Burn your
like
fucking
Fingertips are just.
yeah, fingertips, like just lines from the skewers. And then like that night, Alon, who's from Philadelphia, was visiting his mom and came in to work at the restaurant. Came in to eat at the restaurant while I was working.
Yeah.
And like he came up to the pass, he met Michael for the first time, and then like I'm there grilling, and it's like Alon would subsequently become like my mentor again, like later on.
Yeah.
And so that was like my moment where I was like, oh, like the industry, like people,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
it wasn't like a, oh, this is tough type of thing. But my thing was like, this is a community of people that appreciate and celebrate each other. And like want to engage with one another, even if they're thousands of miles away. And I was like, oh, this is cool because I'm seeing the business side of it, like that networking part. And that's the thing that I at this point now cherish the most
I love that.
is like the community in Chicago, like the community in Philadelphia was really great, community in New Orleans really great, and so that was my like welcome to the industry moment where I was like in the fucking weeds, and these like this whole thing comes full circle for me. I was like, this is where I kind of belong. Like that's
so
where I
cool.
want to be.
Yeah.
I want to be the chef
Right.
coming to another chef's restaurant and like meeting for the first time.
That's so cool.
hanging out.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. I love that. This one's got a couple here. This is DJ Bistro.
Oh yeah, this guy.
Big shout out to DJ Bistro for multiple questions here. So first
Do you-
one,
Do you guys know this guy?
I don't.
No,
Is
who's
this
DJ? Bistro.
Dan Jacobs from Dan in Milwaukee
okay?
and Esther Ev.
All right.
Yeah, he's a guy.
I gotta check it out. I gotta go.
Is
check.
it a what kind of Chinese restaurant?
It's like Chinese American.
Okay.
And then he's got like a little
Dan
like
Dan Noodles.
20 seat. So his partner is also Dan.
Oh,
So it's funny.
Dan
Dan.
Noodles. Yeah, that's
So
what I-
he has got a little. He was in Chicago. Like he was a
okay.
sous chef at Spring.
Oh, okay.
Like worked under Stephanie for a while, I think.
Oh, cool.
And they got a little like 20 seat sort of like tasting menu that just him and a sous chef do.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's pretty badass, called Esther Ev.
Oh man, we're due for another trip back up to Milwaukee, as we call it here. I do. So definitely want to go get connected and check out this guy's spot. So the first question, chef, your favorite color?
I don't, black, I guess.
I love that.
Exciting.
We're a lot
Snow,
of black.
snow or beach?
Beach.
Favorite Chicago sports team? Hint: it starts with B and rhymes with airs.
I don't care about this stuff. I have like too much going on to like worry about sports.
Yeah.
Like my whole thing is like I was a Saints fan. I occasionally watch like Eagles games with my wife, like
Yeah.
when she wants to watch them. But like at Sunday, Monday, like I'm with my kids. Like I'm family. Like I'm not taking off those 3 hours
Yeah.
to like watch a football game
Yeah.
that really like could add value to my life, but I don't really see it doing that versus the time that I have with my children.
Yeah, for sure.
So Bears who
Bears suck.
Go Eagles.
Hug
Go
or
Birds.
handshake? It's like the worst local Chicago podcast episode to listen to. This guy's like,
local hug or handshake?
hug or handshake? What type
Oh.
of chef are
I
you?
think it depends on the person.
Mm.
I'm usually a handshake guy, but you know when you get in that weird situation where like
You don't know.
may handshake,
Yeah.
but they're going in for the hug, or vice versa, and you're like it's happened. I was in Palm Beach for Food and Wine Festival last weekend, and like that happened a couple of times. You're like someone you've known for a long time, and like you should hug, but
Haven't
now
seen
it's
them
like
in a
weird
while.
post COVID.
Oh,
Like-
yeah, I could see that.
You still feel weird about?
Well, I
No,
mean,
I just think
he's
people
being
are weird
respectful.
about entering personal space more than they were before.
It's just such an American thing, though. I feel like when we're
Right.
in Europe, man, it's like
Kissing each other.
Kissing
on the
each
face and
other.
shit.
Sure,
it's everything.
I don't have a I don't want to invade someone's personal
That's true.
space.
Like
That's
especially in
sanctity of that.
in Asia, right? They're like they're not about that.
No, they
you know?
they stand
Yeah.
far away and bow.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
never been, so
You gotta
to
go.
Asia.
We
I
should,
would like to go.
We should go. We should go together, all of us.
you buy my plane ticket.
Yeah, let's
go.
do it.
Pay for a sitter too.
Oh, we got a chef here asking some questions. Some of you might know him. His name is John Mannion.
Oh, that fucking bum.
Chef John Mannion wants to know, in that you are from the mean streets of Orlando,
Oh yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about the role Shaq, Penny, and the boy bands played in your life? I don't know if that's.
So this is the Shaq
I think
Penny
boy
thing's
bands is-
interesting.
yeah.
I moved to Orlando in like the summer of '97. I was 9, so it was like right the summer that they went to the NBA Finals
Oh shit! Yeah.
against Houston. So it was like pretty cool to like move somewhere that I thought was like whatever. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm leaving
Yeah.
Jackson, Mississippi. It's the same old uninteresting place to go.
Yeah.
And to have that happen, people don't really like Shaq in Orlando.
Oh yeah.
What?
And then like he left.
Yeah,
And
he left.
everyone was sour about it.
He left, but he put Orlando on the map. Like
Yeah, definitely.
more than Penny. In
For
my
sure.
opinion.
No?
Yeah.
I mean, second to Disney. That's it. Like what?
sure.
What else?
And
Outback Steakhouse or
What?
yeah, the
That's
Darden
from
Restaurant
Florida?
Group is
they're huge. It's Orlando and Tampa Bay. It's like that's
the
where
group
it started.
that owns
It's
Tampa
like
is Outback. The group that owns
that's
Olive
right.
Garden
Darden.
and Red Lobster is from Orlando.
See,
Oh.
like it's crazy that these
crazy.
giant restaurant groups have
Started in
started over
Orlando.
there. In
A lot of space to build shitty restaurants.
What's this boy band?
boy
yeah, wait.
band?
Yeah, can we touch on the boy
so
bands?
like
Were you in a
this
boy
is
band?
this is showing John Mannion's age for sure. Because no one actually cares where they came from, but like NSYNC and Backstreet,
No way,
they're
dude.
all like from that Orlando area.
What?
And like I think it's because
Disney?
Disney. I don't. Really
I could
know.
see that.
Justin Timberlake was a Mouseketeer.
No, but I guess
That's
the
Disney.
question
know
I
if
was
they
like, did
filmed
they
it in
grow up? Did they
Orlando.
grow up in Orlando or?
It was formulated.
More
was-
importantly, Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20 went to my high school.
Ooh, there you
That's
go.
more important.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you? How far apart are you guys?
Very far.
I only
Oh,
hear
okay.
one song when you say Matchbox 20.
I'm getting older.
Yeah, it's like one song that comes
Yeah.
to mind.
John Mannion.
John Mannion's got a second question. You ready for this
Get a
one, Chef?
job. You bum.
Everyone knows that you were born this handsome, but as you ease into middle age, do you find that it's hard work to maintain your Clooney-esque good looks?
This is verging on harassment. Yeah, like I could probably take care of myself a little bit better.
Yeah, we all. It's a challenge.
That's this guy's so weird, man. Get off my
Shout out
shit.
to John Mannion and the team at El Che. This
Also
last
one of the best restaurants in Chicago.
absolutely.
And I give this guy a hard time because it's funny to do it because he
Yeah.
put himself in this position. But like one of my favorite things to eat in the city is the sweetbreads.
Oh,
That is my favorite dish in Chicago.
Really?
that's so crazy. I
Yep,
don't know if
it's
I've
fucking
had that there.
so good.
So good.
So good.
Yeah.
Okay. Party steak with sweetbreads. That's on the menu for next El Che visit. This last question from our listener group, and this was in the comments by a gentleman, ZJ Engel. I don't know if you know this guy.
Yeah.
He asked, why is your food so expensive? It's just falafel and hummus. And for those of you that didn't quite get that, that is Zach's question
Yeah.
to himself.
I was like kind of bored, and I was like, I'll just like troll these guys a little bit.
I love it because I think it brings up a point of topic, and I think it's an opportunity to share about what you guys are doing over there. So
Why is it so expensive? I don't know. Like everything's expensive. It's a thing that we get a lot. We also get a lot of like lately, the last like year and a half.
so do we.
We've gotten a lot of like, I don't really think this is a Michelin level restaurant.
Oh God.
Like not really a
Damn.
Michelin restaurant. And it's like, motherfucker, you don't decide.
Yeah,
like,
right?
like it's
not
already
up to
been
you.
decided. Like it's not up to you. Like
I love that.
Like go talk to them.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. I do my thing.
not
They
you.
say it is.
Right.
I say great. Like
Yeah.
love to hear it. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Yeah.
Changed our restaurant. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
like it was a
Yeah.
pretty cool thing. But like, okay, so you're the arbiter of that, I guess,
Yeah.
Karen. No, so like people think that, and they're entitled to their opinion.
Right.
But like the extent to which we go for ingredients,
Right.
like we're the only restaurant in the United States that Rancho Gordo sends a pallet of chickpeas to.
Wow.
Like you have to buy it like FedEx.
Jeez.
We buy so many chickpeas from them for hummus and falafel. Like we pay a premium for that. It makes the dishes so much better.
Right.
We buy only local proteins.
Wait, can I ask about these chickpeas really quick? Where do they come from?
Oh boy, Rancho Gordo. You don't know about Rancho Gordo?
I'm not familiar.
Well, you're not white, so you don't know about Rancho Gordo Bean Club.
It sounds South California is what it sounds like, right?
I had a
Rancho
whole. I
Cucamonga.
had a dinner with like Eric Williams and Paul Fairback, and we were trying to explain the Bean Club to Eric Williams. He was so infuriated by it. He was like, he like couldn't get it. Like
Yeah.
so Rancho Gordo, they organic heirloom varietals in Napa, very good
Oh.
practices. Some might say some of the best beans available.
Interesting.
And there's like a mailing list thing where they'll send you like 6 pounds of beans 3-4 times a year.
Wow.
And it's like a very long list to get on. There's like a whole community about what they did with the beans, the recipes, like
That's so
all that sort
cool.
of stuff. And I'm like, I'm going to find the best, most consistent product to use for two things that pretty much everybody gets.
Yeah.
One thing that everybody gets. So that's kind of like Rancho Gordo. Like, I won't ever use a different chickpea in any of my restaurants. I don't see the point.
Yeah, I love
So it's
that.
expensive. And, you know, we use very good spices. We use all local proteins. We use as many local vegetables as we can. And
And you pay your staff well.
we pay our staff really well. You know, a lot of restaurants follow like sort of a 30% cost of goods, 30% labor, 30% other expenses, 10% profit if you can. Our shit is 20% cost of goods, 40% labor.
Yeah.
Because everything is so labor intensive.
Yeah.
So you're not paying this misconception that like the food isn't worth that is like you're not paying for the food. You're
Yeah.
paying for like a skillful technician
Yeah.
to like make it from all independent ingredients. Like you don't buy pre-made shit.
Yeah.
You know? Like I don't buy challah from somebody else. We don't buy pita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we
Make all that shit.
we make all that shit because like that is first of all, it's better for you when we
Yeah.
do that. And then it's also like a more delicious experience.
That's the way it should be.
The fact that there's like possibly some error in there also
Right.
makes it more beautiful.
Right.
I love
Right?
that.
If you make something from scratch and we try and get it consistently and as good as we can, but like if it's like a little bit off versus buying like a box of falafel mix, like yeah, man, like
I love that.
we're
Yeah.
using parsley, like we're grinding up like a case of parsley for a batch of falafel.
Jeez.
You
Yeah.
know?
Perfectly imperfect. And I love that. and thank you for sharing about that because one, I didn't know that about the chickpeas, and I wouldn't have never thought about that with the hummus, right? Other than the fact that I'm like, this is fucking amazing, you know. But it's stuff like this that, you know, it's like whether they care for it or not. But like when consumers hear this, it gives them a little bit more.
Sometimes
Unfortunately,
Sometimes they're like, why would you do that? It's like, because I can
charge
do
me
what I
less
can
and
do
give me
what
the
I can
box shit.
do
Yeah.
what I want to do. Like, that's
Yeah.
what I want to do. I want to sell it. Like, the free market indicates that
Right.
like,
The whole being American
people
thing.
people are going to buy it. So, like, I'm not going to change everything I'm doing just because, like, it upsets your
Yeah.
feelings.
Yeah. Well, I love that, man. That's awesome.
That's a great question for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Any recent favorite bites around town?
I went to Mako
Oh, sushi.
sushi.
Yeah.
Okay. BK's been, like, breaking my balls about coming in for a
Oh.
couple
Is that
years now.
in the neighborhood ish?
Yeah, it's in West Loop.
Okay.
I'm not a sushi expert by any means.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't done a lot of omakases,
Yeah.
but it was a pretty cool experience. Like overall, also because we sat right next to him, and all the food was good, but the food was especially delicious because I'm watching him like doing his thing,
Right.
and he's smiling like quietly to himself.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
he
he's,
takes
like,
so much
enjoying it.
joy out of doing this
Right.
that it makes it so much more special of an experience. Like it's not a machismo thing.
Yeah.
It's not like a pursuit of perfection in like to be impressive or like whatever. It is purely because he finds so much joy in it. He's sharing it, and I was like, this is badass, dude.
It's awesome.
Like you can operate at this level and like be comfortable with what you're doing and be really happy about it.
I love that.
What else?
Good
I
for
don't know
BK.
what else.
Yeah.
He got a star this year too.
Yeah,
Another
2
one.
years ago.
Yeah.
2 in a
Yeah,
row.
same with us.
2 years in,
Yeah.
2 years
Yeah,
in a row.
2022.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, El Che is like one of my favorite spots. I don't know, I've
Junk food? You like junk food?
I'm a well-known advocate for Superdog.
Superdog.
Oh, yeah.
I live very
Wow.
close by.
Oh, the
That's
one
like
on
my-
Elston.
That's my like junk food.
Okay.
Like,
What-
no, I don't think
what-
it's junk food, but like that's like my
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah, I wouldn't call. I mean, I wouldn't say junk. Like
It's not junk, but it's
Superdog
not.
is.
It's not like a. It's not like.
If you've ever
salad.
had it,
Favorite
it's
hot dog?
delicious.
Oh,
Is Superdog?
yeah, 100%.
Have you been to Gene and Jude's?
That place sucks.
Oh,
I don't care what you say. It's not good. It's not good.
I
It's
haven't
very
been.
uninteresting. to
I'm
me.
neutral.
Have you been to Gene and Jude's?
Thank you to our sponsor, Gene and Jude's.
Yeah.
I've never been.
It's not my show.
I
I'm a
don't
guest.
know. Okay, like I'm just gonna throw this out there because for the longest time I've heard people say I gotta go to this place. Okay, it's like
What place?
I don't know if I want to say it.
All right, don't say it.
Cause there's so many fucking loyalists to this place, and I'm like, they were like, everyone under the sun is like, you got to go to this fucking place. It's the best.
Is it Red Hot Ranch?
It's a pizza spot, and I was like, all right, and like I finally fucking went, and I was like, I don't know if it's
In
like,
Chicago?
yeah, dude, you were with me.
Is
So
it down south or in the north?
I'll say it's in this. It's
in Chicago.
south of here. So I don't want to fuck with anybody.
Okay.
It's south of here, all the way over there, and I was like, anyway, all these fucking legendary, pizzaiolos, and like everybody's like, oh, you gotta go here, it's the best. And I was like, man, so when we went, and I was just like, this was all right, man. I'm like, I feel like I'm worried about your Gene and Jude's thing like that. I worry that
food
it's like
is-
there's too
food is
much
subjective,
buzz.
right? Like
Don't worry
I
about
went
it.
there. I was wholly unimpressed. I thought that everything was like pretty
Standard.
like standard, if not like subpar in a lot of ways. And I was just like, they're not doing anything that's interesting. They just took everything out of the Chicago dog. And I was just kind of like, but you know what?
Wait, so what do you mean they took everything out of the
I
show?
was just
Like, what is
there's
it?
like there's it's like the mustard.
Okay.
It's the onions, mustard, and the sport peppers.
Yeah. and
There's no
that's it.
tomato.
Oh.
There's no pickle.
Shit, I would love that.
There's
then,
relish.
And they
because
put
that's my
They
hot
put
dog.
the French fries like in the hot dog.
Yeah, and
Kind
then
of
they
like,
roll
doesn't
it up.
Superdog do that?
No.
I swear to God, you
Superdog
get
does it in a
fries.
box,
Red
and
Hot
they're
Ranch.
next to
Oh, they're next to it.
next to it.
I'm not
But,
gonna
like,
lie. As soon as you
that's what
said,
people grew up with.
I want a
And
hot
so,
dog.
like, who am I to argue with someone who loves Gene and Juice?
"Fuck, we should have got
You know
hot
what I mean?
dogs for."
But my
the
kids
show.
are gonna grow up and they're gonna be like, "There's nothing else. There's no other hot dog but a Superdog."
Ooh, okay.
And like, I'm
Until you
like,
take them to Gene
okay.
and Jude's.
All right.
Margarita's been to Gene and Juice.
I gotta go to
Oh.
She
Superdogs.
didn't like it.
I haven't been to Superdogs in quite a while, so I'm gonna revisit.
I think they're really nice.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
super great. We go to Shul together, actually.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Mhm.
What?
Nice Jewish family.
Oh. What is it called?
Shul.
Like temple. It's like a
Oh, I
word
see,
for
I see.
synagogue.
It's cute.
I'm not gonna lie. That description of the Gin and Jude's is exactly my
just don't-
dog.
It's good.
It's mustard,
I'm telling
onions,
you,
and
it's
sport
good.
peppers. Is like that's how I like my hot
It's the
dog,
best.
anyways. So I'm just like,
I didn't really see a
you might have
difference
sold me
between
on that.
and like every other Vienna beef place.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Have you had? Okay, let me ask you this: Have you had? Do you like Nathan's? Like, have you had a Nathan's Frank?
Yeah. My dad grew up on the East Coast, so
Okay, there you go. Right, like I think the Nathan's is great, but I just think that everything else on the East Coast is like, what's up? Like, dude,
The
they're.
papaya dog.
I had one.
Those are cool.
Gray's papaya. I had one of those. They're okay. I think Chicago does the best
Chicago's
dog.
the best dog,
I've been to the West
sure.
Coast. I've seen the hot dogs out there. It's trash. And whatever they do over in New York City with like that barbecue sauce, that onion shit that they
Yeah.
do, it's gross. Like, why would you do that? It's like I don't.
they're not they have like their things, but they're not as adamant as Chicago is.
Yeah.
That's
You know what I
true.
mean? But
Yeah.
they're relentless about pizza.
About their fucking pizza.
There's
Yeah.
one kind.
Let
that's
them
all
have
there
the
is.
pizza. We'll take the hot dog.
We have like 4 types of pizza here.
Yeah, we
minimum,
do.
And they have one kind.
Yeah.
And they all
Yeah.
argue about
They're
which
all
one's
called
the best
Rayberries,
one.
by the way. Like,
Who cares?
there's
Right.
1,000 Rayberries
Go
out
to the,
there.
go to the place. Don't go to the place.
Yeah.
Like why does it have to be like a whole thing where it's like
Right.
your value as a human being in society is based off of like which hot dog you like or which pizza you like? Like, go support the business.
Yeah.
Simple.
Superdog's great. There's one by my mom's, so I
I
love
think
it.
it's the only one. There's only
There's
one.
2.
No,
one on
there's
Wheeling.
2.
Wait, where's?
There's
Wheeling
one by
and-
Bob Chin's.
Yeah.
That's the one I know.
All right,
There's
the
one-
famous Bob Chin's.
There's one and Milwaukee and
It's like
uh,
it's like
Devon.
North Ridge or what is that called?
It's not Park
It's
Ridge.
not like Jefferson Park, but it's like just
It's
by
it's
Jefferson
between
Park.
Edgebrook, Jefferson
There it
Park,
is. Yeah,
and Park Ridge. It's like in that area.
yeah.
I live like a mile away.
I
It's open
forgot.
late.
I remember from our last conversation. You live up like
Edgebrook.
Edgebrook?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was like Saugatuck or whatever, but same.
Yeah, like area. It's
Okay.
like an area. Can I use the bathroom?
yeah.
Drink a lot of water.
Yeah, go for it.
The
Go
coffee.
for it.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
'Cause
100%.
you can edit this, right?
Yes, we can chop it out.
Fantastic.
See ya.
Gene and Jude's, where is this?
It's like displays, like displays.
Is it like Chicago ramen, like ish? Because that's
You know when we're on the way to Melrose Park,
Melrose Park.
just going like north
Yeah,
and
yeah,
west.
yeah.
It's like on the way there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's way out west.
What is different about Gene and Jude's?
I mean, I feel like
Or is it a Vienna sausage?
only so like if I go to like Portillo's or if I go to wherever else and then get a hot dog, it's just not as good. I think Zach's just being a hater
yeah,
right now.
I could see that. I mean, like, but you know what? Like for me, if I want a really good dog, it's usually char grilled. You know, I don't mind the boiled stuff.
So you would like,
I like a snap.
Fatso's.
Okay,
Fatso's Last Stand as a char dog.
that's what I want.
Yeah.
I want a super snappy, juicy.
Well, that's what Gene and Juice is. It's super snappy. That's why it's so popular.
It's boiled though.
It's steamed, yeah.
Steve,
Yeah.
is it not boiled? I feel like it's usually in a
Or- I
third
guess-
pan
I
of
guess.
liquid, you know?
Yeah.
But I
So
could,
it yeah, but it's like steamed bun dog. I get the double dog.
I know. See, that's the thing about like when I went to Red Hot Ranch. Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm sure I might catch some.
When I went to Red Hot Ranch and I messaged you the first time me and Angel went
Did
there.
you like it?
Yeah, I loved it, but
Yeah.
but I didn't do your order because I was like, so for anyone that's listening, I was like went to Red Hot Ranch, which is great by the way, and
Get the double dog.
and I was like texted Andy, I'm like, yo, what should I get here? What's the move? And he sent me his order, and I was like, all right, I'm not fucking doing that. That's insane. Like, who eats a double dog?
So you get a double dog.
Like,
you get a double
I got
dog.
a cheeseburger.
And then you get a cheeseburger, a double cheeseburger.
He told me to do both.
Red Hot Ranch.
In
And
my-
then-
in
and
my
then he said-
age, I need to watch my portion.
and then he said fried
like we're-
shrimp.
are you
He
that
added
much
shrimp
older
in
than
there.
They're probably in much better shape than I am now.
I'd beg to differ.
So yeah,
A bag of skin.
we're gonna any other bites that come to mind here that you want to shout out?
Jesus.
Yeah, man, we're talking food.
let's do it.
Like this is like my favorite part. I love to hear what chefs.
All right, best
you know,
breakfast sandwich.
Ooh,
I mean, the English muffin, sausage, egg, and cheese
At McDonald's?
at Loaf Lounge is
oh, okay, hold on.
Yes.
Shout out to
Loaf Lounge
Loaf
is pretty
Lounge.
great.
What is it? So
they make English muffins in house, and then I usually get like the sausage, egg, and cheese. I'm not like I don't like
you don't
I
like
don't-
bacon,
I
egg,
like-
and cheese?
I don't I like
sausage, egg, and cheese,
bacon,
too.
but I don't
like it in a sandwich.
Yeah, it's like I feel like whenever I get one of those, it's always like the bacon slides out, and then I get an
What?
uneven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
It's like a tomato.
Where are you guys
in
going
a-
where
I'm
your
more-
bacon is sliding
it's
out of
just
your
life,
fucking
man.
food?
It's an
It's just
irrational
all of
fear that I have about muffin sandwiches.
Oh man. All right.
I agree.
All right.
I had a soft shell crab special there once that was killer,
dude.
and then my
What?
daughter
She freaked
only gets the chocolate cake. She eats a piece of chocolate cake for breakfast. I tell Sarah and Ben and like I'm just like I don't know what to tell you guys. Like
Yeah.
I'm sorry, she's so weird.
Oh man.
But I've heard, I haven't been to Loaf Lounge yet,
Oh,
but I've
it's sick,
heard
dude.
just incredible things
yeah.
about
We've
it.
now heard it multiple times,
Yeah.
so
The
it
bread's,
is.
we
It
gotta
is
the
go.
bread's
time.
killer.
Well, I was a little taken back by the soft shell crab because I grew up, around a lot of sushi. I was like doing sushi for a little bit when I just had my time in the back of house, and soft shell crab was like a thing in '90s, like everywhere. It was like
Yeah.
right,
Well, that was
tempura
when
battered
sushi
and deep
exploded
fried,
too, right?
Yeah.
right? And like, what happened to the soft shell crab?
I think
It's
chefs,
nowhere.
Still around.
chefs got a little smart about it. Like, it's seasonal. Like, it doesn't. It happens for like a couple of weeks of the year. Like in New Orleans,
It's a thing.
it's a thing when it hits like everybody's menus, and it's
Right.
always like a lot of fun.
It's like
too.
big in DC.
It's because we're landlocked here. That's why, like,
Could be.
just, I don't know. But I just feel like at one point in time in my life, I saw it everywhere. Like, everyone had it, even on, like, a bar menu, it was, like, a soft shell crab sandwich, like,
Dude, it's so good.
And,
It's so good.
but it's, like, gone.
It's seasonal.
Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Any other food questions before we jump into the final countdown?
Favorite Middle Eastern.
Nino kebab.
Oh yeah, you do. That's
Yes.
fun.
I used to
jam.
live right there. And I feel like we talked about this so many times on the show, but Nuna kebab, and then there's Kebabi across the street.
Never been to kebabi.
It's great.
I'm sure it's good. I
Is it-
just like I like Nino kebab.
What's
Yeah.
your
I
order?
haven't had a bad.
What do you order
We get
there?
we'll do like every once in a while we'll do like a takeout order because they deliver to us like where we are, and we'll just do like the family platter of all like the kubade and the kebab, like all that stuff, and then like gourmet sabzi is like one of my favorite dishes. I've tried other things from them, but like that we usually do like a biryani and like extra hot sauces and pita and pickles
Yeah.
and like the cucumber tomato chop salad.
The
like-
portions are incredible over there.
The portions are. I mean, I literally order.
so much food.
I order like 4 skewers, and they send a half hotel pan, like aluminum, of rice. And then when I order the gourmet sabzi, it comes in like a little like 24-ounce like round takeout container,
Yeah.
and then they send another half hotel pan of rice for that.
Of
I'm like,
course. Of
what's
course.
going on? This
Yeah.
is not. We never finish the rice.
It's so much food. It's like I got to look at their business model. What are they doing over there?
Fill up on rice.
Okay, back to a serious question here for you.
Oh, great! I'm really looking forward to this part.
Like this is something that I feel like, right? So it's if you had the ability to share some advice with your younger self, right? What would that advice be? Yeah.
Like for cooking,
I don't know. Life, man. Life.
I don't know. Things are pretty good so far. I'd be like, I'd be like, have a better exercise regimen because you're gonna get older and then it's gonna be harder.
Yeah.
Like I like
Definitely.
I worked like a lot
Yeah.
and didn't spend a lot of free time like doing that kind of stuff, and I feel like starting up again is like difficult. And I'm like 35
Yeah.
and like slowly dying.
Oh, you're still young, man. 35.
Younger than we are.
Man.
Yeah, but like
Little
like
baby.
I said, like exercise is not
It gets hard.
in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like that's not enough.
Yeah.
Like you need to like build strength. You know,
Yeah, it's just so
Like,
hard
I-
because you're
up and
standing all
down
day.
with it. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
like over the years,
Mhm.
and that's like one thing I think I would have been like, take better care of yourself.
Yeah.
Like you can still do it and achieve things.
This is true.
Strong discipline.
Read more books.
Read more books.
that aren't cookbooks, you idiot.
Yeah. I love
You
that.
illiterate moron.
I love that. We've now asked this question to a bunch of people.
Don't
and
speak to young Zach
I always
like
love
that.
hearing these answers.
Young Zach was an idiot. He wasn't bad, but he was dumb.
Oh no.
I want to let's do this beverage really quick. So we've got a sponsored beverage here. Would you like to pass that over? I'm going to read this. This is from our sponsor, Chio at Coquetel Collective. This is a little gift for you to enjoy. She wrote, I drew some inspiration for Zach's cocktail from his interview with the Joiners podcast. Shout out to Tim and Danny over at the Joiners.
Bunch of goobers over there.
After learning he spent some time in New Orleans. Why do I always struggle saying that word? I instantly thought of doing some sort of Sazerac riff, but instead of using absinthe, I wanted to use a Lebanese Arak. Am I saying that right? that shares some similar anise flavor and aromatic. The
That's
sweetener
very
uses
aromatic.
is
Smell
both honey and creme de noya, noyo, which gives us a sweet nuttiness. So this cocktail, for those of you that want to enjoy it with Chef Zach, it is called the Sazerac Zach. Love the name, Chio. And this is 1.75 ounces of Kuro single malt rye, half an ounce of creme de noyo, quarter ounce of Norden Barrel Reserve Aquavit, a quarter ounce of Arak El Masaya, and a quarter ounce of honey syrup. Give that a good shake and serve, and enjoy that, sir.
Can I taste it?
You can taste it.
Is that
Hell yeah.
inappropriate?
No, absolutely. Go for it. This is
the Arak El Messiah. That's like
what? Can you tell us what a
that's
little
the
bit?
that's the good shit.
Oh,
It's good stuff.
Is that the stuff that changes color?
Yeah, it's called Lausching. So
Lausching.
it's a anise liqueur. It's a distilled grapes. So a lot of
It's like grappa, but
the grappa. It is what a lot of grapes were used for a long time. Like Merwa is a grape that's like native to Lebanon, and a lot of it, instead of for wine, was used to make arak, or in Turkey, raki.
Very cool.
And so now people are like our boy Eddie Shami at Marcel, making wines that are 100% Merwa.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
pretty cool. Like there's both. Messiah is Messiah. Sami Gosen has been in Lebanon for a while, making wine for others. Messiah is like probably 12 years old, I think.
Wow.
We had him at Galit, and he did a full menu with all of his stuff. And I like Arak Messiah because it's very clean. Like some Arak is like a little bit rough around the edges, and this one's like a very clean distillate. It has like the balance of aromatics and alcohol.
This is the spirit you guys pour at the end of the night.
Only for the VIPs.
Okay.
Just kidding. You can order it. Usually, it's actually more of an aperitif, but we serve it as a digestif.
Okay.
Like usually it's something you drink throughout the meal.
Some strong
like
stuff.
a cocktail.
Yeah.
But the profit margins aren't as great as like a bottle of red wine. So we don't really push that one too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I love it. It's really cool.
How does that reaction? What causes that reaction?
Dude, you're gonna pull me on the spot.
I'm sorry.
He just dropped so much
it's
good
like
info.
It's something about like the temperature and the suspension of the alcohol and
There it is, guys.
something like that.
Oh, perfect.
I don't know. Google it.
Google. Goggle
Lausching.
it. Goggle it. Where can people find you, sir? On Instagram. Do you want to share your personal?
Yeah, ZJ Engel, Engel. It's a very creative name.
It is.
And
And
then Galit, GALIT_restaurant.
absolutely. And the website is www.galitrestaurant.com. Thank you so much for joining us here today on
I'm
the
glad we
show.
got to do a redo.
Yeah, this is number 2. Take number 2 here.
Yeah. How do you feel like this one went versus the last one?
I loved it, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I got
Better?
to know
More fun?
you. Yeah, dude. It was
So,
great.
I enjoyed it.
I learned a lot
In
from
this
you.
lovely setting.
Yes.
of
Much
Perilla.
Can we
better.
learn more about your restaurant versus
I know.
your backstory?
That's always the thing too, is like everyone wants to know backstory, and then you like don't talk about the current stuff.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about what's coming up real quick before we
Oh,
do
yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yeah.
Let's do that.
We're opening up a second restaurant
Boom.
next door to Galit.
Oh, it's next
wow.
door.
Yeah, Anders and I bought the building next door.
Oh, shit.
Holy shit. Congratulations.
Thank you. The
Crushing.
I would also tell advice: buy the real estate.
Buy the real
Leases
estate.
are for suckers.
McDonald's.
I mean, you have to like
McDonald's.
you have to be able to buy the real estate. And
Yeah.
Chicago's not cheap.
Work
but,
hard
like,
to buy the real estate.
work hard to buy the real estate.
Yes.
It's a lesson I learned a long time ago, and it's been a goal of ours. So we're just opening up. Galit is now very fine dining. So this is going to be sort of like the neighborhood casual restaurant that we originally opened up a little bit.
I love that.
But like I don't know what I'm gonna cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're building a kitchen, and it's gonna have a
That's good.
restaurant.
Yeah.
And there'll be like a design to it or
Yeah.
whatever. But I kind of am like not sure what I want to make
Yeah.
because it's a ways away, and I'd rather. Galit has a lot of rules that I follow, that I've arbitrary rules I've made for myself on
Yeah.
what we're cooking, and so I just want to like shoot from the hip, see what happens.
When are you
Yeah.
guys
I'm gonna
projecting?
I might make Korean food actually.
Yes.
Ooh,
Do it.
please.
Take some
Korean
of your
American.
market
share.
Just do
Man.
Korean American food.
You guys are far away enough.
Yeah, yeah. It's a big city. It's like 4
I
million
love
people
that.
here.
Yeah. Someone's got to do Korean Jewish food, you know? It's like just fucking delicious. So,
I just might.
there you go. Can you tell us anything else about this before we?
When is it gonna open?
Who the fuck knows?
Okay.
Ooh.
But it's looming.
It's a lot of construction. It wasn't a restaurant before, so we got a lot of work ahead of us. But you know, I'm hoping before the end of 2024.
Oh
like,
shit!
You don't know with
Yeah.
Chicago,
You don't know.
right? Like
Right.
Galit was a turnkey restaurant. Like we
Okay.
got that thing up and running pretty quick.
Yeah.
I moved here in October, and we opened in April. 6 months.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, we're gonna have it's gonna be a lot of things that Galit isn't,
Yeah.
because like now we're doing our thing. We're not changing the business model. So where we lack in like revenue streams or options for guests,
Yeah.
we will probably be doing there sort of as sort of like a sister restaurant, if
Yeah.
you will. And so, you know, we're gonna have not Middle Eastern wines.
Oh,
Whoa, crazy.
Shit.
Because there are other wines that we like that we just
Yeah.
no one would buy at Galit
Yeah.
because they only want the Middle Eastern stuff now. So
Oh.
that kind of thing, you know?
I love that. Chicago is going to be an incredible city. I'm so excited. Like there are some incredible restaurants that are
Yeah.
opening up on the horizon.
John
Excited
Mannion.
for
I'm pretty thrilled for Brazil.
Bracero. Like I don't know. There's just some cool stuff. I'm excited for you guys. This is awesome.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm glad you guys are staying, keeping it here. You know, and adding
I
more
don't,
to this.
I don't want to go anywhere else.
Oh hell yeah,
Like I don't want the hassle.
yeah.
Like I would rather be here, do my thing. Chicago's great.
Because we love
But
Chicago.
like,
We
I
love
don't-
Chicago.
I love Chicago. I really do. I fall in love with the city.
Yeah.
It's been great to me, but I'm like, who would want to like travel all that much?
Yeah.
Like that's so not fun.
Young
You're-
cooks. Want
You think young cooks want me to put them on a airplane and coach and go to like Las Vegas for like
I
2 months?
Yeah, probably.
I could see that. Las Vegas.
It sounds like a recipe.
My
for
brother
disaster.
lives there, so I can't like shit on it, but because he says so many great things about it, but I just can't love that city. So, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today, Zach Engel.